Hello, everyone, and a happy Wednesday to you. Hope you all are doing well, having a great evening, a great week. Welcome to Midnight Hatter Live, the weekly variety show where we talk Gunpla, and apparently we're kind of diving more into 3D printing. I don't know, that's just what I tend up doing. But joining me, as always, is the shining Adam Blue, which I think will
Oh,
the
that's good.
shining Adam Blue, and we are joined today by a special guest, which I'm very excited about. The mistress of horrors herself, John Linnell. How you doing?
Hi everyone. Been a while since I've been on a stream. I'm glad to be back on one.
Well, we are glad to have you. We've been wanting someone in third chair for a long time because it gets boring just listening to Adam and I geek out, and we rarely disagree. So then it's like,
Yeah, I
What
feel
fun
that.
is that?
um,
No, it's and you were saying it was about two years ago you got on the scene, right? Or no, you were saying
Four.
2017.
2017,
Yeah,
yeah.
2017 was around the date I got involved in Gunpla. It hasn't been the same since.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, once you crack that first kit open and start tearing it apart, it's very hard to turn around and and look
And real
back.
quick, John Lynn, what's really cool about this stream is the people that watch or tune in live. Really cool people. So Ian's in, Rogue New Type. Good to see you guys. Trickovac 15, Zionic Shadow. Good to see you, Robert, as
Hi
always,
everyone.
and then Wallace Trottier, Grimlock. So wow, very cool to have a bunch of people
Yeah,
already with
welcome
us.
aboard, guys. And I hope that Ultronimus will get a chance to join us this evening. It is his birthday, and he's a mod over on my Discord server.
Oh,
So wish
happy
wish
birthday!
Ultronimus a happy birthday for me. But
Happy birthday, everyone.
But yeah, I figured, this would be a great opportunity to talk about kind of alternative Gunpla scene and kind of breaking out from the norms because, there's a whole host of professional Gunpla builders that have like these, stunning channels where all they do is these, amazingly immaculate, like, I don't know. I'm not capable. I don't have that skill, and I don't have Jonlyn's skill either. But I admire that stuff. But
It's
I
actually
really
quite
like,
skill.
yeah. Oh, let me see here. There we go. Sorry, I hadn't. My Skype was glitching out on me. But yeah, I admire the trailblazers, the people that kind of that do something different, and that's what you bring to the table, and you've been doing it now for 4 years, like you said. What was the first kit that you do remember building and remember kind of customizing? Well, I suppose it's a two-part question, right? So what's the first kit you built, and what's the first kit you customized? Uh-oh, did my Skype die on me? Do I need to did I lose you guys? Am I flying solo? Oh no, I lost everybody. So let me see. I am going to restart the call here, and hopefully that will fix the issue. Typical of me, right? We can't have nice things. We can't have a stream with no technical difficulties. So hopefully by starting the call up over again, we can dive back into it. Let's see if this will work for us again.
They're like,
Well-
oh, you ruining Gundam. Oh, is he back?
Doing
Looks
everything
like
good?
Yeah. Sorry, I lost the call there for a second. So, just had
Yeah,
to
sometimes
restart.
Skype has its thing, even though it is the best, but nothing is the best, it seems. But no,
I haven't found a streaming platform that I'm happy with yet.
oh yeah, agreed. There's not one that's the best.
No.
But no, John Lynn, when I first got into Gundam, and then I made an Instagram account. I forgot what I called it. It was before I started doing the Gundam Explain thing. And your posts were one of the first that were coming up, and it was unique because I was like, oh, I've never seen anyone do this with Gunpla. Because I was just doing straight builds. I was just figuring out that there's all this more customizing that you could do. But I saw how you were kind of taking it to the next level, where it's almost like the plastic itself is more of a canvas rather than this thing you have to abide by.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I thought that made it more interesting because it seems like you can really find creative, abstract people to have discussions with about this stuff.
It's
Yeah.
really great when I get that people want to keep it, for giant robots, and I get that people want to keep it like that. Like, cool, I like giant robots. It's nice. Enter GBWC. I'm never gonna do that.
Yeah.
For me, I don't have the detail attention to do mechanical parts. I am zero mechanically inclined. Machines are total loss for me. But just doing this in its own is the way that I can enjoy the hobby.
Agreed.
And do you have a 1-to-1 scale Haro? Do they make those?
Uh-oh.
Oh, here we go.
I have two.
Because I was thinking of, if they're easy to get, I haven't really looked, but I was thinking of getting one and like making it a pumpkin. Oh yeah, I've seen that one from your pictures. Yeah, that paint job is sick.
In my first IPMS winner.
Oh, that's cool.
And my second one is currently being worked on. Right here.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
But inside is album covers.
I remember seeing that in a post.
So what inspired that paint job?
Oh, man. See, it's a weird blend of like music and like street graffiti. I'm very much fond of graffiti.
Who is that
I
artist?
think the colors and urban feel of it all.
Yeah, like that street artist. Who am I thinking
Banksy?
of? Banksy's another one, but there was a 90s graphic designer that I'm thinking of that
with the people?
Yeah.
You would always draw the people?
Yeah, he did the whole like Andre the Giant like has a posse type that guy.
Yeah, I don't remember the name.
But yeah. I do actually have I was screen sharing it earlier, and I think that's probably what made my whole Skype situation crash, which I apologize to those listening because, obviously that's a shame. I do want to make sure that we do our due diligence and put on a good show for you guys and get.
Don't worry, no one noticed.
No one noticed at all.
Blabbing
no,
on.
It's me. I just come on here to cause trouble. It's me on any
It's funny,
live
you even
stream.
said that before we started. You're like, I'm going to cause some technical difficulties.
Yes.
So,
hey, Gundam Wing.
So yeah, I do have some of your old work queued up here, just to show off, and so I'm gonna just kind of have that up in the background while we're chatting because, I do want people to understand the full breadth of the types of work that you do.
Hey, like my Barbie, my Barbatos.
Right, like that is a different take on Barbatos that's not stronger than every other Gundam in the universe, right?
It's cool. Look, I'm assuming like aquarium accessories were used in this.
So
I'm just
the
throwing that out.
base was done with aquarium gravel glued onto a old resin coaster I had. I used to make and sell resin coasters until resin became far too pricey for my liking. And so I have a bunch of like scrap coasters, and I'll use those for bases. So it's just a bunch of normal neon-colored aquarium gravel that I glue onto the base. Very simple hot glue. Spray paint that. Throw on the lichen and, the colorful painted moss and all that sort of good stuff. Along with adding in a resin pool. Just a very small resin pool, but it glows in the dark.
Ooh.
So there's a glow in the dark powder that you can get to add to your like resin and stuff.
See, Adam, this is what I was telling you about. the
Yep,
glow in the dark
you
pigment
guys are on
powder.
the same wavelength.
And then it's just, putting the Barbie where I wanted to, adding in the additional hot glue, and for you guys that know Mod Podge, day 52 of trying to get Mod Podge to sponsor me.
Yeah.
And then it's just finishing up with the spray painting.
I mean, it looks fantastic, and it's the posing of it is so so distinctive too, right? It's not just about the technique that goes into it or the product that you're using. It's the sort of motivation behind the whole piece as a sculpture and as a statement piece, right?
Are
Well,
you
with a
ever
lot of
planning
my
this?
build,
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was gonna say real quick. Do you ever like plan this stuff out extensively, or do you kind of like improvise?
so for a lot of my random horrors and stuff, it just improvised. But with these paintings that are along like this theme, like a whole little planned out narrative. Kagvistic in itself is a whole science fiction story of complete and utter annihilation by a fungus that just assimilates anything it comes in contact with. Like, if you guys look in the background, I have this massive diorama planned out that's going to be under the same theme, but using another Barbatos to be the assimilator. Kind of like a Left 4 Dead fungus tank.
Like an
Oh yeah.
infectious. I'm glad that you mentioned that actually, because one of my questions for you was, do you tend to have like a story behind the builds that you make? Because some people just like say, oh, I want to make like a custom Zegok because I think a Zegok custom would be cool, and it's like there's no story there, there's no narrative that kind of builds on that piece. And so I think that this barb that we're looking at actually this has a name as well, does it not? I feel like
It does, but I'm blanking on it.
I
I have them all written down, so I remember, but just never pull it up at the top of my
I
head.
want to say it was something like desolation or something like that, but
Yeah.
but I mean you do have like a narrative drive behind your bigger builds. Like you did mention the
Yep.
Haros. The Haros are a little bit more improvisational and a little bit
Yep.
more experimental, which I love. Like, that's if you're gonna experiment, the Haro is a perfect
Oh yeah.
like canvas to explore.
Oh, absolutely.
This one's obviously one of my favorites. Was the oh man, the work that you did here on the sculpting was fantastic.
I love that little dude.
Yeah.
So this was very easy. This was actually done just with. Hold on, I just added running around here. It's sand textured heavy body acrylic paint.
Sand texture.
So
Never heard of that.
hold on. Right this grit. So it's put out by Liquitex, and it's a coarse grit sculpting painting,
So
where
awesome.
it's like a medium like hair gel paste, and you can sculpt it with like just palette knives. I have a bunch of like cheap like 50-cent palette knives from Michaels.
And that's all it takes. Like you don't need like expensive, fancy tools to do these types of things. Like and again, that's one of the things that I love about the work you do is it's, making do with kind of what you have and using what you have in creative ways, right?
Yeah, and like I think this is the most expensive part, like $12.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's not a lot.
And
The spray paint in itself, you get multiple uses out of.
exactly. Yeah. What's your favorite brand of spray paint right now?
Montana cans.
Montana cans. I'm not familiar with
So they're very expensive. They're like $12 a can.
Oh.
But for high-end graffiti paints, and you can get them like low velocity or high velocity, but just the spray, like spraying on butter.
I'm gonna have to look
And the
into
colors, very addicting, I tell you.
because I'm like a Krylon guy, you know. I'm like I'm like whatever I can
Like-
get at Walmart.
I love Krylon, but Montana can is like top tier. If I could buy this, if it was more affordable, I'd just buy that for all of it. But unfortunately, like $12 a can, and you're just like, I want to have all the colors, but I just can't.
Yeah, that's a little much compared to like the average, you
Mhm.
know, $3 to $6 can of, you know, Rust-Oleum or whatever you can get. You know.
Like I got like 20 cans to Rust-Oleum, but only like 3 cans to Montana.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I had for you as well was, have a process for picking out what kits are going to get what types of finish to them? Do you have like a you know, this has like kind of a rounded finish, this has kind of an angular finish, things that are like saying, do you have like a build that informs the piece, or do you just kind of like use what's available and then kind of make what you can of what you have?
Sometimes I have an idea right off the bat on what I'm gonna do. Like for the Nightingale that we're showing, it's up there. You guys can't see it, but it's up there. Like, press it, it's all the way up there. I knew that as soon as I got it in, but I wanted to do like this oceanic world building concept to it. But with my other Nightingale that I'm currently working on, I had no idea what I wanted to do. It sat there for like a few days, where I'm just snapping up like the base parts until I was looking at the Apex that I did, the USA gonna put out, and I'm like, oh, I just want to do it like this, but
That's
add
cool.
in more yellow because I really don't use too much acrylic yellow minus spray paint. Yellow's a difficult color for me to spray paint.
Now, do you think that that's, you know, is it just that yellow is yeah, I find yellow can be kind of like an aggressive color when you put it down. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it,
I can mind of
um, yeah, that's just so I can definitely understand how that would be difficult to work with. But you know, like you said, this is a piece that you put a lot of effort into. I have some of your concept art prior to actually. This was all freehanded onto the Nightingale, correct?
Oh yeah.
Wow. What kind of were you using, like a marker, permanent marker, or is it a specific art paint pen or something?
So it was just hand brushed on with a paintbrush.
Wow. Excellent.
I free doodled it on with like a normal white colored pencil. Looking back at it now, I wish I got one of those watercolor pencils. 'Cause you can't erase lines without messing with the paint. I'm like, oh, I probably should have thought this out better, but now I know for next time.
Yeah, because it's pretty crazy. And well, do you just like the Nightingale? Is that why you go for that? Oh, that's cool.
The Nightingale for me, I've never liked the red in the Nightingale. I feel like if it weren't for the fact that it was just who it belonged to, it wouldn't look better in any other color but red.
Yeah, like a Gyaradoga green, you know, with the different shades of green on there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the red
Yeah.
is so played out, right? It's like,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
especially,
bad guy mobile suit.
you know, one of the things that about the Char red is that, you know, in 0079, Char red was like pink, but then,
Pink.
you know, in Char's counterattack and, you know, well, obviously the sort of the spin-off
clones after
manga
that would be
that Nightingale came from, they went a little harder, like a more cherry red.
Yeah, I guess that started with CCA because Zeta obviously. Well, I guess he did have his Rick Diaz at the beginning, and that was, but that wasn't Char. Okay.
Yeah, that's a totally different guy. I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Cyclones, never heard of them.
But yeah, so let me see. I feel like I had 100 questions for you, and now I'm blanking on all of them.
Well, I got one real quick while you're going through that. So, on your blog, sometimes you'll review random other stuff. I'm curious, like, is Gundam just kind of like your favorite fandom, and maybe is it more of just because of the model kit sort of customizing? Because I liked your Prey review, and it had a lot of cool. Obviously, Predator lore, so yeah, that's why I was curious about that.
Unfortunately, I've been into Predator since I was 5. Because that was one of my first sci-fi films, Predator, and I've been hooked ever since. So I have a vast 18 years of knowledge.
Hey, right there with you.
I love Gundam, but I don't know the animes 100% well. Because I've only seen a few of them. So I'm mainly in it for the models.
That's cool. I like that. I like it when I meet someone that I talk about Gundam, and it's either they don't build and they like the show, or they don't really watch the show, but they build. It's like a crossover way, all these different hobbies.
Yeah. There's a Venn diagram of well, and it's similar to you're into the Warhammer community as well, and it's you have the Warhammer gaming side, and then there's the Warhammer painting side, and so it's when it comes to the Gundam fandom, there's the people that are hardcore into the anime, and then people that are just in it for the models.
Well, hey, let me ask you, Jonlyn, real quick. Alien vs. Predator 2. Do you like that? I do. Okay. I do, even though I think the human stories are just a waste. Just the Alien and Predator practical effects and the mission that Wolf Predator was on just kind of made it a cool.
So my problem with Alien vs. Predator, the 2 films, is that there's a lot of room to do a lot of things, and I just feel like they missed every hit.
Yeah, no, I agree. It seems like it'd be a surefire hit to really make it work, and they just, I don't know. Well, it seems like a lot too. And hey, I don't want to nerd out too much here, sorry, but it seems like a lot of it is always is a studio interference. It always seems like studio interference messes up these movies, because I guess the original either IP holder or someone that was involved as a producer really wanted to put his hands into as things happened.
So, from what I know is, I don't want to say it was Dark Horse. I think it might have been Fox. Kept on changing what was going on with the films, and that's why some of the plot choices were made. But if you look at Dark Horse, the comic for Alien vs. Predators, vastly 120% tonally different than the films.
Yeah.
And it's just a shame because I feel like you lose a lot of the quintessential Alien vs. Predator that you get in the comics and the novels that you get in the film. It was so bad that even blanking on the name, Sigourney Weaver refused to do an Alien vs. Predator film because of the last 2 Alien vs. Predator films.
Rumor.
Now there's a rumor.
Oh, go ahead.
There's a rumor in the rumor mill that Ridley Scott and the producer Prey might be working on something together.
Okay, that's cool. Because I mean, a lot of times anything, I guess, Alien 3, I think is okay, even though I think it could have went a better direction. But I love Predator 2. Some days I think Predator 2 is better than 1. Some days I think 1 is better than 2. But everything after that, it almost seemed like it's hey, we have this limited budget, so let's make a story based on a limited budget. Whereas I think once we got to Prey, it was like this is already going to be in a more limited setting, so we can kind of go all out with the story. So we got that cool. I love. I had an analogy for it before, but like the strategy. The Mars movie with Matt Damon, where he had to like figure out how to survive there. It reminds me of the main character of Prey. She's trying to figure out how to survive this.
Well,
Yeah, I like that idea.
well, I first of all, I love Predator 2. Back like one of the top Predator sequels. Um, there was really this quality dip when Shane Black took over and did the 2017, which, for those of you who have read the blog, know how I feel about that. And it just he working on Prey, there's a lot to be done to bring that franchise back.
Yeah.
And he dug in and he did the work, looking at the history, looking at the colonizers who were coming into the film, the language. Because on Hulu you can watch it with the English subtitles
Oh
and
yeah.
then the Comanche subtitles. But he dug in and he did the work that had to be done for that film, because not for nothing, you can shoot 101 Predator films in the jungle with, army, whatever. But that's just gonna get repetitive and it's boring.
Yeah.
We want to see the Predator doing stuff outside of military involvement.
Yeah.
I mean, Predator 1 just this big whole to-do about Vietnam and Korea.
Right. It's
Yeah.
very product of the time. A lot of those kind of references barely pick up on the messages. I mean, obviously they get the jing, that kind of behavior, like a lot of the other myths, and that's where I'm
Absolutely.
kind of like with you. Like I enjoyed Predator 2. Of put what I would consider like an everyday man against the Predator because he's
Oh
just
yeah.
a cop, right?
Yeah.
But
He has
Yeah,
no
have the thick
military
skin.
in
experience.
80s Detroit, which apparently was like 2077 Detroit.
Right. Yeah.
So the
Like I
funny
think
thing,
was it 1997? I think it was. That's when it takes place.
Yeah.
The second one,
um,
1997. Yeah.
yeah, late
Even though,
1990s.
even though it came out in 91 or something. Yeah.
So my funny thing about that is the actual storyline was supposed to follow Dutch's brother. Yeah, from part 1, he has a brother who the Predators get really mad that Dutch beats him. So they go after his brother, and like there's this whole spiel where he has to go to the Antarctic, and it's all this, and it's all that. But honestly, I feel like that just would have been more of a cliche than, just putting the Predator up against, a cop who's all for nothing, is completely tired, and probably deserves a retirement at this point.
Yeah. And what's interesting is there's that Predator Hunting Ground game.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's not bad. It's like that asymmetrical multiplayer thing, but it actually has the story. It continues of Dutch of like afterwards, where he's trying to figure out what this was, and everything. I totally forget what the story was, but there's a story in there, a sequel for Dutch, which apparently is canon. So I don't know
I
what
didn't
is.
know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't played any of the video games.
Yeah, they're okay. They're pretty fun games. Yeah, they have different types, first-person shooters, and
I was gonna say, I mean, if you're talking Aliens versus Predator, then the Aliens video games crush the Predator games,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
I mean, Isolation is that's like a whole revelation of a genre.
yeah.
I'm not
I
gonna lie,
see.
I have Isolation, I just haven't played it yet. I'm still
Oh,
playing Skyrim.
oh wow. Hey, Isolation's great. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's got a good story, because it's Ripley's daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's pretty cool. Amanda Ripley. Yeah.
It's insanely hard. And I don't even
Yeah.
play it with like the audio controls where it's like it uses the audio from your
Oh, yeah.
controller to detect if you're breathing too heavy or something.
Ah,
Oh,
nah,
that's
I
cool.
couldn't do that. I'm terrible at video games.
Yeah.
I have to play on my easy mode.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
No, absolutely not.
And I have to say that I have written a Predator fan fiction of my own. Pretty embarrassing. I'll go ahead and say there's a baby predator, that he has to try to save. It was kidnapped by the government, but the main through line in this the story it would be talking about like within the predator race species where there are differences between groups, just like the idea would be like mimic some of humans own faults between each other but seeing it within the predator faction, like they're trying to
I'm
get
down.
their job done but they can't because they get in each other's way.
I'm down.
And so part of it is the baby predator being kidnapped was actually a plan with some of the Yautja and the humans, the government, the Earth government, I don't know, work together and do some things to kind of keep combat going, and there would be like badass air combat action scenes between predator ships and the USMC ships. Yeah, I don't know. It would be pretty sick. I don't know.
It's hard to
Like,
imagine a predator social hierarchy that revolves around anything other than hunting aliens and,
It, well, the books and the comics go deep into a
they
social
do.
hierarchy.
oh
It's like
yeah,
crazy. Yeah,
it's
that's what I'm saying. They could
it's
explore that in the movies,
matriarchal.
but they just never do.
So it's primarily like matriarchal, because the females are like twice the size of the males.
Yeah, it's like
Oh, that's
Like
spiders.
cool.
if
That
the
I
average male is like
oh
8 to
yeah.
12 feet, add on like another 6 feet for the females, and like
Oh
another
wow.
200 pounds. It's craziness. I love it.
Absolute
Pretty
Amazonians.
cool. Well, yeah, if you
Mhm.
think of Aliens, the sequel to Alien, it explored the social structure of the xenomorph, and that made it. That's not. I'm not saying that made it a good film, but I think that helped make it a good film because it had that world building in there.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times that's what Predator movies are missing. They don't, and when yeah, they don't really do world building of the Predator. If they do, it's like in ABB2 when he's melting all the xenomorph remnants with like this liquid he has. I don't know. I just didn't buy it. But
Honestly, most of the world building is in the comics and the novels.
yeah,
Like
that's
you
right.
get Predator, the most dangerous like game and all that is the high end to be, look into the culture. But like with Aliens, you get it in the film, but you also get it in the comic. And this is where my beef with like Covenant and Prometheus come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Ridley Scott just takes a perfectly good idea and he shoves it out the window with androids with daddy issues.
Yeah,
Yes.
I hate David H.
Prometheus is just one of those movies where it's like I'm fascinated by it, but it eats me up inside because it's like taking the alien lore and kind of like changing it for its own thing, and it's like, well, I mean, it is the original creator, but I don't know.
So
You-
it's bigger comic in one of the Alien omnibuses where you see them, but they're on their natural planet where they have been, they evolved and they grow, but they have their own natural predators. 'Cause in that home planet, they're kept into relatively small units, 10, 12 members at a time, before a new queen goes off and finds your own hive or that gets destroyed by a predator. As soon as you take it out of the environment is when it goes like cockroaches.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
that for me was like the
Pretty
top
good.
tier explanation of, yeah, it's just something that, you took out of your environment, like bed bugs.
It's like a survival process it goes through
Yeah.
when it's out of its environment.
It's bed bugs, you take it, you put it somewhere and it infests, but you put it back in its environment and it's suddenly contained by outside factors.
It reminds me a lot of that speech from Rock and Rolla. Have you guys seen that movie?
That sounds familiar. I
It's a
know
Guy
that's a
Ritchie
Judas Priest song. I don't know if it's
yeah, it's
related.
an old Guy Ritchie film, but there's a guy that like
Oh,
wants to he's a mobster that's about to dunk a guy into a pool full of crayfish, and he's like, you know, of course he's English, so he's like, well, these are American crayfish, you see, and the thing about Americans is they always eat they eat each other, you know? So it's like, you know, he talks about how these American crayfish eat the British crayfish, and therefore, you know, when you dunk a guy in a vat of crayfish, they're gonna get eaten. And it's that same sort of idea where, like, you know, like you said, you take a creature out of its native biome and put it somewhere else, and it's going to either adapt to the biome or it's going to adapt the biome to itself. And in a lot of
Yeah.
cases, that means being predatory.
uh, Grimlock is saying when Ridley sees a rake, he is absolutely compelled to step on it.
How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare
It's
you?
funny.
Gladiator is fantastic. And no, actually, it's funny
weird because
Adam and I had this argument a couple weeks ago where I was like, Ridley Scott's amazing. You know, he did Aliens, and I didn't realize that he didn't even do Aliens. He did Alien, and
Yeah. It's weird though because like he can make excellent film and TV, but then sometimes some of the things are bizarre, but that's okay. You know, it's like someone wants to super express themselves in a way that other people might not, you know, care for, but that's okay. I like what Spanking Goose 80 is saying. Imagine a xenomorph empress had been Mecha Godzilla with a Xeon mobile suit. I can't even imagine what's going on there, but kind of like the sound of that.
well, I guess
I'm
that would
down
be
for it.
something kind of like this here Hygog.
Oh,
My high frog.
oh, there we go.
So that's actually part of a different diorama that I'm doing.
Oh, so this is a work in progress.
Yeah, so that's like I got the male and I got the female. And it's in like the same universe as like the Barbie.
Yeah, hence that same
Except
sort of
this is on
aquatic.
Earth.
That looks cool.
And hold on. I need to work on my dioramas. I have too many unfinished projects.
Oh,
And they're gonna
That's
be like little trash cans of like rainbow fluids seeping into the water. And you're gonna
that's
have
cool.
army guys in hazmat units, not
Oh,
realizing what they're getting
what
involved in.
size?
Yeah, what scale?
What size are you gonna make the people?
I have no idea.
I knew that they sell on Amazon. It's really cheap too. It's like a whole thing of like 1/44th scale and 1/100 scale people. I always looked at that. Always thought of buying it. And since you know how to paint well, it would probably be easy for you to make them look
Yeah.
look
in
real or
universe.
infected. Yeah. Cool.
I love my little high frog. He was a blast to do.
Yeah, I mean so technique wise, how do you achieve the splatter effect? Do you just kind of like flick the paintbrush and like get the like for that especially across the top, you see that kind of splatter of
Gradient. Yeah.
So what I did for this one is I put a base coat of spray paint green on it,
mm-hmm.
and then holding the paint, the rattle can, to the very back of the tip and applying minimal pressure to get it just to do that, you know, half-ass spray
little sputter.
spurt. That's how I got the whole, you know, spray pattern going.
So that's cool.
Difficult because sometimes it'll clog the nozzle, sometimes it won't, it all depends.
As long as it's not the Montana cans, that's
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't do that with Montana. Krylon's one. Gotta treat those Montana cans like gold.
yeah, exactly. Well, that's very cool. I had no idea that you could even you know, that you had like alternative techniques to using rattle cans. That's like you can get different effects from, you know. I mean, my approach is always just like hose it down until it's dripping, and
It also depends on the nozzle, because you can get different spray nozzles for the cans. If you're looking at fat tip, wide tip,
that's true.
which I recommend looking into if you want to do different colorations.
So do you
On
just
your...
strictly use cans and no airbrushes?
So I use airbrushes, not for a lot of my most recent builds.
Hmm.
I've been going to the spray, the spray can, because I really haven't felt like pulling out my spray booth and everything.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of work in itself. Oh,
So this was also done. This is my Gesta.
yeah.
This was also done with spray paint, but this one went with a different direction. So what I did with this is I got a tiny little mist bottle, and I just sprayed it down with water first, and then I hit it with the spray paint to get the bubbles.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
That's a good technique.
Yeah.
Now, did you encounter any like puckering on account of the, when the water kind of evaporated? Did it kind of...
The bubbles would kind of sink in, but it'll leave this like circular effect
Like a little
on
crater.
the kit. Yeah. But honestly, if you're lucky and if you want to do this in layers, like do one color, wait it out, do a different color, wait it out. It's interesting to see how the colors work on each other when you do it that way. Or you can spray it down, hit it at one angle, one color, and then hit it with a different angle. Like, if you look at the hips on this one, that was done with 3 different angles. A basic pink, aqua, and yellow.
And do you, it almost looks like you paint, when the kit's complete. Like, you don't take the kit apart and spray individual parts, do you? Or it depends on
For
the...
this one, it get taken apart. Like, I'll keep, like, the major joints together, like, the whole arm will be together, the whole arm, the whole hip. For the frog, I had to break it down into different parts.
I see. Yeah, because I mean, you can almost kind of tell, like, where the gradients hit, depending on the arm, and it's, yeah, I guess, I mean, that's great for consistency, right? Like, it would be kind of jarring if there was, harsh lines in between joints, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool look.
Thank you.
I mean, combine that with Hatter, some of your like glow in the dark or iridescent, paint. Like that could really make a cool, unique looking. Yeah, all the paint techniques. There we go.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and so, Jonlyn, you've experimented with color shift paint as well, right?
I have Turbo Dork being some of my favorite color shifting paints. In fact, probably some of the only color shifting paints I use.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't really use any color shifting rattle cans. Like, I really haven't had any luck with any of the color shifting rattle cans.
I wish I knew the brand that I used, but oh man, I have a guitar that I painted with like an automotive color shift paint, and it was like a 2-stage rattle can finish, and it goes from like a deep dark purple to like a bright reddish orange, so it's a pretty aggressive effect. I wish I could remember the brand, because I think that would be like, that would achieve the optimal result. I just don't know if it would work at scale.
I honestly don't know.
What about paint like that that's also glow in the dark? Would that even work? That seems like that would be insane. Just as you're moving it around in the dark, it might have all these crazy colors.
I tried to go in with dark spray paint, but I didn't have any luck with it. So I don't know if it was just the can or if it was me, but I couldn't get to work at all.
Yeah, I haven't encountered a good glow in the dark, or even like like a phosphorescent spray can. I tend to use just like the brush on stuff, which tends to work kind of well. I have these powders that I am looking to explore using, particularly in 3D printing, because I was like,
Oh,
well, if I could mix them with like some pour over resin or some 3D printed resin and get that glow in the dark effect. But even the powders don't really hold their glow very well.
no. It's I want to say it's almost for like a difference. Like there must be an industrial glow in the dark pigment you can buy. Well, you can't buy, but it's out there compared to the one you can get up the market.
Yeah.
Cause even this glow in the dark stuff, it's good, but you need to charge it for like 3 days before you can get like a decent glow to it. It's, but it's one of the best ones I found.
Yeah. And like you said, there's definitely a difference between, consumer grade and industrial grade. I'm learning that in 3D printing, because it's like, oh man, I'm actually running an experiment right now on a diorama that I'm making, but like the website that I bought the resin from says that I need to cure it at like 2.5 seconds per layer. The bottle says 8 seconds per layer, and the model that I'm using, like the manufacturer of the model, is like 4 seconds per layer. And I've tried all three and none of them work.
She was like, "Why I can't do 3D
Yeah, no one
printing?" I
knows.
get so confused.
It's definitely it requires some investment and some experimentation.
Yeah.
Now here I particularly love this piece. Well, this collection of pieces, because you have few different series of high grade Zaku models here that we are looking at, right?
Yep. So this is my summer squad build up for the GBA, the Gunpla Builder Association summer squad event last summer. And they were going to be all three of the same Zaku's, but I could not find a third one. Like, USA Gundam was out of them, Galactic Toy is out, Gundam Pros. So I'm like, I gotta just get this one because we need to start this in like 2 days.
Oh.
Well, I think that you made the most of it, and it fits in with the bunch. I think that you would have to be a hardcore Gunpla connoisseur to pick out which of these Zaku's is not like the other, right?
Oh yeah. And it's funny because if you look at the yellow one, it's missing a hand.
I noticed that.
Which I
I
had,
wasn't gonna
like-
say
Oh.
anything. I was just
I had to like commandeer it into it's an arm cannon. I had an 8-week-old German Shepherd puppy at home when we were doing this, and she had like swallowed it, and I'm like, I'm not waiting, 12 to 14 hours to see that part come back up. So we're just gonna go arm cannon.
Well,
worked.
when that does occur, Steven, have you ever encountered something like that where a pet ate a piece and you had to?
I'm glad you mentioned it, because there is actually one of the earliest videos on my YouTube channel is a story in 3 parts, in which I had a Zeta Gundam. My cat ate the V-fin off of said Zeta Gundam, and then she vomited it up 2 days later.
Oh.
Poor little thing. She was fine. She still is fine. She's
See, that's cool. That's cool. That's still around. I couldn't imagine. Yeah, the V-fin. Although it moves around, right? Is that the high grade?
Yeah, that's the high grade.
that
So I mean,
it moves.
it was, it probably didn't feel good going down or coming up, but
Oh, it might be the real grade one that collapses.
Oh yes, the
right?
real grade one folds up.
Yeah.
See, now that would be like one of those one of those like wall anchors that you use for like paintings. You know, it's like you swallow it and
God.
it's slim, and then it opens up and.
Oh,
Well, I'm glad your cat's still around,
Yeah.
and
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that cat's gonna live with us till she's like 25 years old. she's
it's awesome.
she's the nightmare one. But yeah, I mean, this is all such. It's so awesome seeing someone who can express such unique stories and so many interesting techniques using Gunpla, and you know, it's again, it's not even touching the Gundam anime, which of course you are also a fan of, which it's been a fantastic week for Gundam fans, obviously, you know.
If you see on me on Twitter, I'm having a blast with this whole spiel about what's going on with the Witch from Mercury.
You know, Adam, you did your reaction to the Witch from Mercury episode 1 on Monday. I am, you know, I don't do reactions because I'm just gonna get myself into trouble. But
I'm one of those soft boy anime new weeb dudes that I don't know what I'm talking about, and I think that's kind of the
It's
charm
the
of it.
advantage.
It's like, what is this dude saying?
No,
Yeah.
I think the Witch from Mercury is great, and you know,
Yeah.
as far as like Gundam animes go, there are things I love about it, there are things I don't love about it, but at least I'm excited to see where it goes, which I wasn't excited to see where like IBO went after maybe like 10 episodes. I was like, all right, I'm done with this.
I didn't even like IBOs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
couldn't stand
interesting
IBO.
how with both the prologue in this first episode, it's very engaging, at least to me the entire time. As when I started Wing, when I started 00, when I started Seed, I wasn't being pulled in right away. But which is a good. I just can't wait for the model kits to be like easily available, or even out, or whatever.
Can we
like,
get
I'll
can we
see
get
someone
those
on Twitter
demi
posting
trainers?
their build. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then I'll go look online to buy ones, like pre-order March 2023. I don't know, but I just can't wait to start getting those.
Shirt Lad in the chat
As soon as
says,
I get my hand on that aerial, it's over. Game over for everyone.
So is that, would you say
love
that
that
the
kit.
Aerial's the kit, like that's your Grail kit from Witch from Mercury?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, that's good,
Unless they
because
come out with something better.
there's gonna be a lot of Aerials. I dare say that by the end of 2024, we are going to get a real great Aerial, and you know, hold me to it, quote me on it. I guarantee it. We're gonna get a real great Aerial.
I don't want a real grade. I want a master grade. I don't like real grades.
Is there any real grades from IBO?
Good. I don't think there is.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. Do they do all the series? Because sometimes there's a real great kit I'd love, and then sometimes they have stuff of like, well, that's cool, like a Zagok, that's cool, but not what I would get a real grade of.
I don't do real grades.
You know what? If you get a chance, or if you ever feel like building one, that new God Gundam is pretty good, because it feels like building a master grade that's just smaller.
Please. No, I'm not
Shining
just playing with you.
Burning. Isn't
It's
it burning?
Yeah, I don't.
Whatever they
the Americanized.
Which is funny, because I never knew anything about that until getting into Gundam, and then I'm like, God Gundam, Burning Gundam. I'm confused.
It looked very similar.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, Jonlyn, give us your impression of Witch from Mercury. You know, beyond just the Aerial Gundam being the favorite.
I love it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm looking forward to it being my top Gundam series. Even more so than the original.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
See, Adam and I are UC grognards, so like I don't think anything's ever gonna top Zeta Gundam for me, but
right. Yeah, I agree, but there's just so much cool stuff going on here. Like, I'm just excited.
It's exciting going
every
forward.
week.
I want a high grade of Guel's Gundam, that chonker. You know I love a good purple chonk.
Oh, I want that too. That's one that I will look for when I see someone posting it on Twitter. It's like, how did you get this? and then I go look for it, and I'm like scrambling, like those sped up videos of people trying to figure things out. Like they have
I'm looking at it. It's all
Twitter,
on
I'm like
pre-order.
trying to search for it.
It's all
What's
like,
that?
how are you getting it? It's all on pre-order. And I'm like, how are you getting?
Yeah. I'm like, there's got to be some place that happens to have them in that people are getting them from, and so I'll search around.
Yeah. There's
Like,
somebody whose truck, you know, that there's something that fell off the back of the truck, and people are pushing those things around because I'm like, where are they getting them?
Yeah.
But yeah. So that said, if and when Master Grade Aerial hits, what is your plan for it?
I don't have a solid
Great
plan
build?
yet. I have a few ideas, but nothing set in stone. It all depends if I get a master grade or not.
Fair enough.
Cool.
Fair enough. Well, I don't want to cut us too short. We kind of got to start a late start, you know, on account of I have a screaming child. but yeah, is there anything that you wanted to chat about, you know, before we head out? I'm looking at the chat to see if we have any questions that we missed. Adam, let me know if I missed anything.
Let me see.
No, nothing yet.
Okay, questions. I don't see any questions from the audience.
Yeah, they're having their own little conversations in there.
Yeah,
Fun group
they're
of people,
on the
by the way.
Yeah, we have a
Oh.
we have a cool bunch of people that follow the channel and follow Adam and I's shenanigans. So I will ask you this as sort of my final question to you: if there was a kit that you wanted that isn't available right now, what would it be? You know, and it can be like, you know, oh, I want a master grade of this, even though there's already a high grade, or like, you know, what would be your the mobile suit that they want that you want that's not available right now?
So, what I want is, I don't know if you guys were on Reddit, but Gundam Reddit, when they did the 160 high GOG, when somebody 3D printed that 160 high GOG.
Oh, I did not see that.
It's like this
But that
massive
would be yours.
behemoth,
That is huge.
but I want it. It's like the size of the PG unicorn, but I want it. Like,
That's a
I'm
good
not
one.
thinking-
That's a good one to get a perfect grade scale.
Oh my god, it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, Grimlock actually had a question. What's everyone's favorite transforming mobile suit? And to give you a second, Jonlyn, I'm just gonna say Stevens is the Zeta. Okay, good. I got it. Yay! And I think I like the Rigazzi custom. That's mine.
Yeah. AK-47
Um,
Gundam.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say unicorn because I don't remember the ever transforming mobile suit.
I mean, the panels coming off the whole thing, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Where all the panels shifting in that was my first Gundam I built was a real grade unicorn. And yeah, and that's cool. Yeah, because that's what like really got me be like, man, this is pretty sick. And then that all started from there. Yeah.
And
I
it
don't
looks like
remember the ever
Shirt Lad's
transforming.
asking, Jonlyn, what gives you the inspiration for texturing and layering on your builds?
I'm not gonna lie, I started doing the weird textures because I was staring at frogs one day. Frogs have weird textures. I like weird textures. I like frogs. I like robots. So I'm not trying to add this all up. I mean, it just
Yeah,
kind of
that's
went
pretty
from there.
interesting.
Just went from there. Frogs.
That's
I like that. It's like nature. It's like the gifts of nature that we don't normally spend time looking at and inspiring us.
well, isn't it funny how it's like art or life inspires art, inspires life, inspires art, where it's like, you know, frogs mean amphibious, mobile suits plus frogs then equal frog-like mobile. I don't know. There's something in there.
Yeah.
No,
There's a
you're
Circle
metaphor.
of life.
It's
Yeah.
a circle.
Yeah.
Circle. It's that scene from Always Sunny in Philadelphia where he's in the post office room and he has all the red string.
Yeah.
It's all
Oh yeah,
connected.
yeah,
Yeah, the
exactly.
conspiracy Charlie. Hello,
I love
hello.
that.
Well, no, that's fantastic. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the experimentation that you do, and you find that Gunpla
Thank
is a good method for self-expression and experimentation, right? Like as opposed to
Oh,
just,
absolutely.
oh yeah,
Oh, I mean, I paint on normal canvases,
Hmm,
but I like my Gundams because, they're small and
it's cool.
I can stack up 20 Gundams on here. I have enough room being taken up by 20 canvases.
well, and there's something nice about that tactile, you know, there's structure
Like
there.
3D art.
hmm
It's not just paint on canvas and and not knocking paint on canvas, but
Yeah.
just
Right.
saying like, being able to pose something and like put your
Yeah,
hands on it makes a
exactly.
difference.
So
Now that
it's
said,
hands-on.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention to those watching that you are actually selling off a
Mhm.
fair, a large selection of even
Yeah.
some of the pieces that we just looked at, over
Yeah.
on your shop, which is linked below in the description. So, um, for those of you interested, you can have, you can experience that tactile joy of,
Oh, yeah.
uh,
So for one easy payment of various different prices, you too can get your own Haros or Jesta.
Yeah, there you go. Especially for people that don't really care to build
Yeah.
one or paint one. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a market for that.
absolutely.
Yeah, bigger market.
So
I
yes.
also do commissions.
So yeah, I mean, I encourage people to browse your store, not just for Gundams, obviously, because you make, some enamel pins and you make some prints that are amazing. You make some apparel that is amazing. I'm a big fan of
These
the
are
reverse tie-dye technique, which, I didn't even get a chance
thank
to
you.
really ask you about that tonight, but
Hey, fine. We can always do this again. I'm open.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
cool.
and again, you have this blog where you not only discuss Gunpla and your techniques, but you also discuss, like Adam brought up, just general sci-fi, pop culture, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just venting about the asshats on Twitter, right?
Oh, yeah. So my schedule tends to be Monday, Tuesdays are like relevant skill model. And then I started going off topic, so I'm like, Thursday will be our off topic day. That's gonna be sci-fi, me venting about predators, my disdain of Shane Black and how he ruined the Predator franchise. And then on occasion I'll post like on a Friday.
That's cool.
No,
Yeah.
I love when you surprise us with a post, because honestly, it's like, oh, that means it's something good. That
Yeah,
means it's something really,
usually meaty.
that it's something you're really passionate about, because you weren't going to wait until next week to post it.
I'm still getting flack over that one I made about the sexism in Warhammer.
Yeah, and I mean, there's something to be said about I think the term you used was like gatekeeping, right? That's like
hmm
and that's across
Oh
any
yeah.
hobby, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
and you know what, I think that I would love to have you back and just talk about the subject of gatekeeping, because I think that
I'm
you and
down.
I would agree on a lot of things. We might disagree on some things, and that would be a fun topic to see, like, like, when is gatekeeping appropriate and when it's not appropriate? Or is it never appropriate, right?
Oh no, sometimes it's appropriate. Just not in the way
That'd
that
be interesting.
most people think it, you know, never. Like, these, I've been, people are trying to, like, gatekeep me since, like, day one. First time I posted a Haro painted, they're like, no, get out. What are you doing in my house?
Stop doing pour overs on Go Googs. I don't accept that as an acceptable paint.
And then I just do it aggressively more.
Yeah. And I mean, that's
Grimwalk, I gatekeep the gatekeepers.
there you go.
That's how that goes. If you get lucky, you get mentioned in the blog, but I wouldn't call that luck.
Oh man. Well, I think that this has been a fantastic deep dive. I love that we kind of went off the rails a little bit and discussed Alien
Right.
versus Predator because, you know, obviously that's what Adam and I do here. We start with like a general topic and then we just kind of nerd out and stuff. So I'm excited that
Yeah.
you got to join us and nerd out tonight and share some of what I consider, you know, valuable techniques, opinions about the hobby. Again, like I said, for those of you who want to support Jonlyn and what she does, follow her on Twitter, visit the store, subscribe to the blog, all in the description down below. If this Skype window would stop resizing on me, it's killing me here. But
It's just like, no, you're not getting on the camera.
right, it's like nope. You need to resize everybody's windows on the fly. But yeah.
Well, I had a blast tonight.
No,
Good.
I had a blast tonight. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Adam and I have been really excited to have you on as a guest, and we would love to have you on again in the future.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, to everyone watching, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for keeping the chat lively, and thank you for your questions, of course. With that, I wish you all a great rest of your evening, a great rest of your week, and we will catch you tomorrow for the Gundam Explained podcast at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Central. We obviously are going to have a lot of Gundam to talk about, as mentioned tonight. You know, it's a big Gundam week, Gunpla and Gundam anime wise. So, looking forward to that. Links down in the description below. Cheers.
Bye, guys.
Yo.